Hello, chess friends, and welcome to Jozarov Chess Channel, and welcome to really one of the wildest chess engine tournaments of all time. So welcome to the TCEC Season 22 Premier Division. So the Premier Division of this season is really brutal because we have now a new leader, which is the Komodo Dragon Engine. Really wild stuff. I prepared here for you the current standing of the super event. Maybe something will change as I'm recording this video, but so far when I started to record this video, this was the current standing. You see the Komodo Dragon has a comfortable lead in front of this top engine Stockfish. We were really used to see Stockfish brutalizing all over the season, and also in some other computer chess championships that we have followed on chess.com. But here in this event, really the Komodo Dragon plays really outstanding chess. And look at this statistics. The Komodo Dragon won 9 games out of the 20 played games and has now 11 draws. So without losing any games, the Komodo Dragon is really now in top shape. And I think this could be really a dramatic event for all of us, because as I said, the developers of the Stockfish engine work so really great, but now the Dragon engine developers are making also hard work. So as I said, it will be beautiful for us to watch maybe the brutal super final between Dragon and Stockfish. So I prepared now a really beautiful game here played by the Dragon engine from the super event against another top engine Stoofvlees. And this game, I think, shows really the beautiful style that Dragon has. It is, I think, not so complicated how Dragon plays the game. It is a sort of human way to play. There are not maybe so many tactics, but I really love Dragon simplification ideas without complicating things too much. Getting spaces, getting of course good squares on the board, activating pieces, attacking kings, securing kings, getting back with the pieces, defense, attack. So really beautiful strategies here in this game that the Dragon engine applied, and I think you also enjoy this game because, as I said, it has sort of human value, because I think we can understand what's going on the board. So let's check out now this beautiful strategical game played by the leader of the super event, played by the top engine Dragon. So we have now c4, we have the English opening, and now after move e5 we have this reverse Sicilian setup with the move knight to c3, we have f5, and after g3 knight to f6, bishop to g2. We're controlling of course further the d5 square. Most of the times you see also some ideas of bishop to b4, but then in some occasions white can also play something like knight to d5, and then afterwards kicking away the bishop with the move a3, or in some occasions white even allows black here to take the knight on c3, and allows basically black to mess up a little bit the pawn structure on the c file. So also a possible line here for black. But okay, here bishop to c5. What I don't like about this line that was prearranged by the organizer is the fact that this bishop will be kicked away in a couple of more moves with the move e3 and then followed with d4. There's nothing that can be done, I think, too much against this idea, because you have to develop your pieces on natural squares, knight to c6, maybe d6. So as I said, the bishop on c5 becomes more and more an object of white's attack. So here in the continuation, we have now the move e3, knight to c6, and now knight to e2. After d6, we have now kingside castling, and also kingside castling by Stoofvlees. So we have now this idea d4 immediately. And okay, nothing wrong with black's position so far. Of course, we can retreat, but you see now how this top engine Dragon will exploit now this passive setup of black's, because here we have first of all this weak square d5. And I was a little bit surprised when I saw this move, because I played many times the reverse setup, because I'm a hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense player myself. I like this hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian really, and I played very often, and I played a reverse setup here many times with the black pieces when white is playing the move e4, and then of course I play something like c5. But I never really liked this jump from the other side, so in a different way when I jump here with my knight on d4, because I was always a little bit scared about these trading ideas. But actually I've analyzed now more and more these trading possibilities. After move knight to d5, c takes d5, black has to retreat, we can play normal development, and even if you play something like e takes d4, knight to d4, even if you mess up the pawn structure, I still think that this is not a good position for black, although we have to say this is maybe a long-term weakness to have this kind of a messed up pawn structure. But look at this, f4 is not possible. You have to play really weird squares for your knight to g6 and similar ideas. I think in the near future black could be challenged here on the c file. Black could lose actually the battle on the c file, rook to c1, queen to c2, maybe bishop to f4, rook to e1. So the good setup that white gains here, although we have to say it, as I said, with a little bit messed up pawn structure, is I think too much to handle here for black, and I think white has really comfortable game. So that's why actually this knight to d5 idea works, although as I said, when I played the reversed line, I was really not the fan of this early hop of the knight. So here after move knight to d5, we have king to h8 played by Stoofvlees. We have now a4. This is really beautiful because it locks further the dark square bishop. It locks the dark square bishop really in a beautiful way, because the serious threat of this move is the move b4. And when that happens, you know, then a5 and similar ideas, you could even trap the bishop here. Even if you try something to prevent this idea, to prevent the move b4, then of course knight takes b6 will happen, c takes b6. Now there are simply too many likes or weaknesses in black's camp. Knight to c3, knight to d5 could happen, or maybe here after b3, maybe something like bishop to b2. I think normal development works simply fine. Although in this scenario, maybe black could have here sort of a weak square. Black could occupy here your b4 square, but you should simply get out of the range of the knight. And with these two bishops crossing all over the board, I think again white has a comfortable game. So as I said, a4, really beautiful move, which forces now here Stoofvlees to go on a weird square. The bishop gets more and more challenged here. It gets simply on a worse square on the edge of the board. We have now b3, knight to b4, and now knight to f6, queen to f6, bishop to b2, and here after rook to b8, there are maybe some opportunities to play something like b6, then maybe bishop to b7, or maybe c6, then followed with b5, maybe trying to break here also a little bit this space advantage that white has built here on the queen side. So after move rook to b8, we have queen to d2. A little bit risky, we have to say it, getting in front of the bishop. And here after knight to c6, we have queen to d3. Here Stoofvlees tried sort of perpetual draw with by making the same moves, again knight to c6, but after queen to c1, now no perpetuals are there. And after move queen to f7, we have now bishop to c3. Now Dragon had enough of this bishop, wanted now to get rid of it, because we want here now from white's perspective to continue our pressure on the queen side, because whenever you don't know where you should attack, you should always watch your pawns. Many times your pawns are telling you where you should attack. Now with these three pawns directing to this side, to the queen side, it's obvious that we have to attack that side. We should not push something here. We should not make progress on the king side, obviously, because that's where black is, of course, a little bit the space advantage, because the pawns of blacks are also aiming to the king side. So black will probably make potential progress with the move f4. That's the main strategical goal. We have bishop to c3 now, queen to c3, and now e4. Although again, I'm not a big fan of this move, which creates now a further static position. I think in many occasions black should keep the dynamics here and try an f4 breakthrough. Now f4 is not possible at all, because the knight is controlling that square. So far, although black has here some kind of a space advantage, but at least the f4 is now not an object of black's attack anymore. So we have now f3, and this is really good defensive play by the Dragon engine. Many times you have to break your opponent's space advantages, although this move f3 weakens a little bit the dark squares here in front of the king, but we have traded off the dark square bishop, so not so many things on dark square can happen. Still, we have a nice grip, and with knight to f4, we could have really powerful blockade on dark square. So as I said, although it weakens a little bit your king side, but it not too much, because black cannot really easily attack your king side anyway. So e takes f3, rook to f3, bishop to d7, and now rook to f1. Look how easily Dragon plays the game. Rook battery, of course, some ideas of e4. Now our working knight to f4, also with the flexibility to continue the pressure here. b4, b5, a5, d5, maybe even c5, I think. So many of these moves have to be calculated when you maybe reach this kind of a position for yourself. Oh, take your time. It's not time to rush here, because I think when you have this beautiful position like this, you cannot make it so much worse. You should just take your time and evaluate every move, because basically here we have 5-6 good moves for white, and it's really hard sometimes really to find the best next sort of top engine move here from white's perspective. But okay, you see now how dragon will perform here really in a beautiful way. So we have rook to e8, knight to f4, getting use of this very important square. We have knight to e7, and now queen to a5. Now the rook got a little bit too far away from the action, and now the queen sneaks in. But actually there were not even better opportunities here. What you don't want to do again here, even if you don't try something, what you don't want to play is again some ideas of b6. Even if you do that, then of course g4 is here an opportunity. You could lose the battle on the f file. So again, you lose many times. Even if you try queen to e7, then I think b4 we just continue the pressure. So there was simply no time here for black to make some kind of a counter play. So here after rook to e8, knight to f4, as we said, and now the queen gets on the queen side, and suddenly all of these pawns are becoming more and more strategical problem here for black. So we have b6 here, dragon took, and okay, we have to say this is not such a bad sacrifice here by black, because okay, we have rook to c8 and we're protecting the pawn on c7, but now one problem that I thought of is that the queen is a little bit too far away now from the action. Black is going to push here with the move g5, but will make progress because there is also this queen and rook battery. The knight can be included, maybe then afterwards on g6 the bishop can maybe improve. So many ideas black is also here, and sacrificing a pawn just to get rid of the queen, just to make the queen passive, is I think a good compensation here for black. So at least the queen is not participating anymore here in the game on the king side. So here after move rook to c8, we have rook to f2, we have now g5, knight to d3, and now knight to g8, preparing knight to f6, and then having control of these two beautiful squares, the g4 and also the e4 square. We have a5, continue the pressure. So dragon wants to keep the pressure on the queen side. That's the side, as we said in the beginning of the video, that's the side we have to attack. When you start to attack one side, it's not time to stop. You have to be active on your side, because in one particular moment the game will collide sort of between queen side and king side, and you want to have this open center. You want to include now the queen also into the game, because the queen should not stay there forever. So here the continuation, we have b takes a5, queen to a5, knight to f6, rook to d2, and now after queen to g7, now rook to e1. Here dragon is trying, of course, the e4 move, maybe also breaking here with the bishop, and then maybe search for a good square with the knight. There is not really easy, it's not so easy here to find a good square for the knight, because so far it's kicked away. And even if you play knight to b4, then knight to d5, still this knight can be kicked away with c6. So as I said, it's not a good knight here on d3, although so far it plays a good defensive role, but when it comes to attacking black side, it's a little bit too passive here. So we have rook to f7, d5. You see dragon is continuing the pressure, really good stuff here. We have rook to f8, and now b4, simply getting use of our extra pawn on the queen side. h5, we have b5, queen to h7, and now c6, getting an extra tempo against the bishop. Here this is not working, of course, because you get the bishop to b5, and also the knight is hanging. So that's why first the c6, we have bishop to c8, and now queen to a3, finally getting the queen more and more into the game. So we have now knight to e4, knight to f2, we have now h4, and now b6. We have to split the pawn chain here. We have to break. This is now the clear target. We want to get rid of the knight, then take out this pawn, and when that happens, then of course with d5, and maybe then after c takes b6, d5 and c6, we could have really two connected pawns on the 6th rank, means probably that you win the game. So that's why very nice move to split this small pawn chain here, c7 and d6. So we have c takes b6, bishop to e4, we have h takes g3. Of course you cannot play something like this, because this position will get open. Knight is hanging, and also here the pawn is hanging. The battery on the f file is too much to handle. So here you have to simply play h takes g3 like the dragon engine did. So we have here f takes e4, and you see now it's really a wild position, because white gave up the light for bishop. We have played this fianchetto variation. The light square bishop was perfectly fine, and now we have here from white perspective several light square problems, although now the knight is a very important piece in front of white's king. At least it's controlling the g4 and the h3 square. But now, of course, queen to d6, and you see now that was the whole plan. As I said, there's when you keep your progress, when you keep attacking your opponent's queenside, you see now how suddenly the game collided, the queenside and kingside towards the center. Now the game is becoming more and more aggressive for both sides. Really wild stuff. Although, as we said, white continued the pressure on the queen side, black continued the pressure on the king side, but suddenly the game is again centralized and everything is pretty much messed up here. So after queen to d6, we have now a brutal tactical shot, rook to f2, but this is necessary. Black needs to play this move, but actually if you take, of course, this could be a mistake, then rook to f2. If you play queen to e5 or maybe king to f2, then you get this one, queen to h2, and you get checkmated with bishop to h3. That's, of course, the tactic that Stoofvlees prepared here. But after move rook to f2, now we can play queen to e5, and the problem is now if you cover yourself with rook to f6 here, then of course you get rook to h2, and now the queen is hanging. You cannot cover yourself here with the rook again because of the pin by the queen against the king. So this is really a brutal tactic. Queen to e5. Now you have to play king to g8, but the drag engine, really a brutal chess engine, calculated this everything, every tactic here really well. Queen to g5, we have king to h8, and now rook takes f2. Now this is possible because rook to f2 you cannot take again because of this idea. We have seen queen to h2 followed with bishop to h3, but that's not the point. When the rook leaves now, the protection of the 8th rank, now we have this stunner, queen to d8, first the check, king has to move now. Here on the 7th rank, and now after queen to c7, rook to f7, you can cover yourself, but now finally the dragon took also this piece on c8. And okay, still this is not over because of this endangered king positions. Really wild stuff. Now the queen could come into the game, the rook is very active here in the continuation. Stoofvlees tried queen to h5, tried to get maybe the rook into the game, then also trying queen to g3, and now beautiful defensive idea here, queen to e6. We have queen to f3, and now a beautiful move, queen to a2. In human chess, I'm not sure how many of us would see these defenses that that now dragon found, because of course if you try queen to g3, then queen to g2 after trades of queens, this is simply winning because of this two connected pass pawns, as I said, that dragon created in the middle game stage. If one of the pawns gets again on 6th rank, this is simply game over here for black. So really wild stuff. Queen to a2, beautiful defensive move here by the dragon engine. We have queen to g4, and now simply continuing the pressure here. As I said, no worries for white, although the king is a little bit naked, but so far good defensive move. So rook to f3, again the new threat with rook to g3, but now beautiful defensive move again, rook to e2. Again, if you try rook to g3, then we cover, simply take stakes, trade after a couple of trades, and this is again simply winning endgame here for white. So after move, as we said, rook to f3, we have rook to e2, we have king to f8, and now rook to g2, rook takes e3, but now queen to a1. Very important move to control the first rank, but also to have the opportunity to deliver some checks on maybe h8 here, maybe on f6 and similar ideas. So king to g8, we have now c7, king to h7, and now rook to h2, king to g6, and now a beautiful tactical shot here by dragon, rook to h6. Here we had king to h6, we have queen to h8, the check. We had the now king to g6 after queen to g8. Now the queens are traded, and now this promotion comes with a beautiful check, and obviously the game is over here for black. So really brutal tactics all over the board. So you see all over the diagonals get connected with the file, with the rank, the queens played many times, defensive move, attacking moves. Really beautiful play with the queens here by the dragon engine. So after the promotion, we had now queen to f3, queen to f5, king to e2, queen takes queen to f2, king to d3, and now again a beautiful move, queen to e3 after king to e3. In this position, Stoofvlees resigned because of course of this pass pawn, which cannot be stopped, and it's a beautiful endgame technique here by the Dragon Engine. So okay, as I said, here is the current standing of the TCEC season 22 Premier Division. I was not sure that this is going to happen because Stockfish really played awesome chess, and Stockfish won, as I said, many of these super events, TCEC Cups, TCEC competitions, and also some other computer chess championships. If you want to follow more of these games, please check out this official TCEC Chessdom .com official website. You can check out really great games. You can also see some other games from previous seasons, and also some games from previous cups. And you should also check out this official CTRL Chessdom website, where you have all of these games covered on one website, and you have them sorted out in particular openings, in particular sidelines of openings. You can see maybe the Dragon Engine, the Stockfish Engine playing the Rui Lopez Sicilian, or some other openings. So the links to this two beautiful chess websites will be in the description below, the first things that you see. So I think it's really something worth to study, because you see how strong and how tough the developers are doing their work. With every game, with every tournament, these engines are getting better and better, and they're doing that all for all of us. We can really see beautiful games like this. So as I said, please check them out. I think you have really fun, and you have a beautiful preparation in some lines that you simply like to play. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Maybe it wasn't such a brutal tactical game like we saw in maybe in some Stockfish games, but I really liked this simplification approach by the Dragon Engine. And if you want to see more of this beautiful chess games, check out my commented chess games played by computer series, with some more games played by Dragon, Alpha Zero, Lila Zero, Stockfish, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.